evening and welcome once again to Meet the Leaders. I'm your host, Terrence Mike. As Beacon Mayor Clara Lou Gould is stepping down from office this January after 18 years in office. Tonight, two men who have served the city of Beacon well in numerous capacities, including longtime Beacon councilmen, look to step into that role of mayor and lead the city into the future. Tonight, Republican Fred Anelak and Democrat Steve Gold will debate the issues so you can decide who you want to vote for in the November election. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
How long have you been on the council, Fred?
I was on the council for 8 years. I was elected 4 times, and I didn't want to run the last time around, so I took a hiatus.
And now you're ready to run for mayor.
I'm ready for
How long have you been on the council, Steve?
I was elected 5 times, and I've been on the council for 10 years. I started in 1996, and I'm currently on the council now.
Okay, so both of you are ready to go, and you're ready to lead the city of Beacon. Fred, you've been involved in it. You've been a resident of the city of Beacon your whole life. You've both been on with the comprehensive plan, the master plan. Where is it at, and what direction you think it should go in so Beacon can survive and thrive?
Well, like anything else, you're building something, you need a master plan. The master plan is a blueprint. If I'm not mistaken, there's 12 bullets on that blueprint, which encompasses many, many aspects of Beacon and Beacon going forward. With that, it's over 30 years since we've had any kind of direction, and the people who put this together has done a wonderful job. And all we have to do is to follow those plans now and go forward.
Tell me specifically what you think is the most important thing to do in that master plan.
Whew. There's 12 bullets there. There's no one that's particular important.
What is Beacon lacking? Development? I mean, you know, enterprise zones. What are they?
We have an enterprise zone that's not being exploited. We need in the city of Beacon some small industry. We have a lot of shops, a lot of stores. We have people walking up and down Main Street, but a lot of those people come to town and leave town. What we need is small industry that will retain people living in Beacon, paying taxes, shopping on our main streets.
So you're going to fight to try to bring small businesses in so people that live in Beacon can work in Beacon and make it thriving.
Definitely. Years ago, we had many, many businesses with the hat shops and all of those at Texaco, which is not in Beacon, but the people lived here. So we need small industry back in Beacon again, to some degree.
You're going to fight for that.
I'm going to fight for that. We have an Empire Zone that's going to help.
Okay, Steve, I talked to you a little about it. You said you want to continue the direction Clara Lou Gould was going in terms of the renaissance of the Main Street.
Right.
But I never saw a lot of push to get real small businesses in, to get some of the disenfranchised people in Beacon,
Right.
you know, working there so that they feel like, you know, I'm part of Beacon. What is of the master plan, what do you think the most important focus is?
Well, first let me say that the master plan was put together by many people. There was a committee of about 25 individuals that worked on it. And to qualify it, they sent out surveys to the entire city. And we got back 10% of the results. They sent out 5,200 surveys. And so those were all collated. And then what they did is they had meetings in every ward. They had 4 quality meetings, workshop meetings with the public. And then after that, we had, based on the chapters that Fred was talking about, we had specific meetings on each one of those chapters. And now it's at the point where it's all collated and it's at the hands of the city council, and we're going to decide on whether to adopt it or not.
But you, forget the city council, now you want to be the cheese, you want to be the mayor. So you need to lead. Where do you think the city of Beacon has been lacking?
Well, the businesses on Main Street are doing well, but they're not doing that well. And when you speak to business owners, they talk about how difficult it is. I mean, you see a lot of people on Beacon streets, and it's a really fun place to be in, but it's not really that strong. There's a need for a lot more people on Main Street, a lot more people shopping, and a lot more activity there.
So is the public relations pushed by a lot of people in Beacon saying how great the Main Street is thriving?
It is thriving, but it still needs to thrive more. And the comprehensive plan, by following the recommendations that's in it, that begins with having linkages from the train station and from DIA and the Beacon Institute up to Main Street will help a lot. Some of the ideas about adding more stories of apartments on Main Street will allow for more people to live on Main Street and shop there and work there.
Okay, so let me talk to you about the police department. You know, a lot of times people say that this present board and council and this Democratic council, but there was a Republican mayor, really took some shots at the police department. I know you've heard those things, so this isn't political. Police department, you know, it works their tail off in Beacon, but there's some bad publicity, and you know, there's some real problems, and they're not sure, you know, they're not sure that they're being best represented by City Hall. What are you going to do to change that?
Well, they are represented well by City Hall. I can tell you that the City Council respects every one of them, and we know how hard they work and how dangerous it is. And we saw that because we had an officer shot just a year ago in the second month that I took office. And so we understand how serious it is.
But there's morale problems in there with the whole
morale
sassy
problems
situation
are getting
and all
a
that.
lot better. The most important thing that we can do for them now is bring the staff level up to where it should be. We only have 33 officers. We need at least 37.
You're going to tax the people to do. You're going to tax the people of Beacon to do that.
This is what's budgeted. We're supposed to have 37 officers, and so we need to bring up to that level. And when we get there, we hope we'll have more community policing. Why
have we not been up to that level then, do you think? If you're budgeted for it, so it's not going to be more tax on the city residents, why are they not in place?
Well, Terrence, you said it yourself. There were problems with the department. We had some very good officers leave, but we're building back now. And I think we have fine officers that's coming on. One of the things that we really want to do is become New York State accredited. Because when we do that, a lot of the problems that we had before, a lot of the reasons why the Department of Justice came down will be removed.
Quickly, doesn't that take the local impetus away from the police department to do what they think needs best for a city instead of having state bureaucracy on them?
Oh, no. These are like 67 points to review in the practices and the policies of the department. It's a wonderful thing for the city to have.
Fred, you take the mayorship, what do you want to do to get the police department going? What's your relationship like with them? How do you want to make it work better?
Well, first of all, I have to agree with Steve about bringing it up to snuff. We have to have a full complement of officers so that we can eliminate the overtime and put the chief in a better position to administrate. Right now, I see things turning around with the City of Beacon Police Department. The morale is starting to pick up. We do have to get a stabilizing situation with the chief. Right now we have an acting chief who is actually a captain. We have to get in place a chief so they have something to go forward with. That is one of my priorities. Another priority is to bring it up to full staff. As I see it now, I see that the police in Beacon have turned things around in that they have new uniforms. The uniforms are very impressive. On the uniform themselves, they have their name and they have embroidered their badges.
What has turned it around? What happened that made it turn around? They didn't just decide, oh, let's be jolly fun here.
I think it's a number of things. One of them being that we have an acting chief that has come up through the ranks more recently, had a working relationship with the public, has a better handle on what the officers need.
So who's the acting chief there?
The acting chief is Glenn Schofield.
Right.
And Glenn is doing a good job, but his hands are tied in that he's not the chief. Okay. Getting back to the uniforms, they have uniforms now that are people-friendly. They have a baseball cap instead of the regular caps that they wear. So, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot. People like to speak to someone maybe in a baseball cap rather than
They feel approachable, you mean?
Yeah.
Let me ask you about the situation in terms of the racism. I mean, look, I know that profiling and all this stuff is an issue. I'm going to have you both get on this. But, cops need to be able to do their job without, having some activists come up always. And sometimes they're right and wrong, but I'm saying to be able to do it. Is the City Hall going to protect them on this so they can do their job? Not let them have full reign, obviously, protect the rights of people, but let them do the job.
You're always going to have activists. You're always going to be sued. And it's a situation with the police is be damned if you do and to be damned if you don't. So it's a tough job, and these men are suffering sometimes with these jobs and the fact that they have to go to court and they're being sued, and sometimes their jobs are on the line.
What about that point in terms of, the suits and all that? I mean, the City of Beacon has a ton of suits sitting on their lap right now.
Right. Well, as I said, New York State accreditation will help a lot in that area. But when you have a professional police officer who's doing his job in a professional way, who knows how to do it, then if there are any charges against that officer, it's defendable. When officers are doing their job well, then there isn't an issue of profiling.